Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC on Fox 11. Overall, I thought it was an awesome card, top to bottom. Even the Fight Pass prelims are good. The FS1 prelims are really good. And the main card was good as well. Got some surprises on the card. Number one contenders. Come from behind victories. Dominant performances. Prospects, everything you can get out of a UFC card, including bad refereeing and questionable scorecards. My picks weren't too bad, actually. 9 out of 13. I didn't do great on the main card. I missed Verdum versus Brown, Cerrone versus Barboza, Romero versus Tavares, and on the prelims, the only one I missed on the prelims was Alex White versus Esteban Payan. So didn't do too bad overall. But as far as bonuses go, Thiago Alves versus Seth Basinski got fight of the night, and Donald Cerrone and Alex White each got performance of the night bonuses. Let's just get started. Fabricio Verdum beat Travis Brown by unanimous decision. Gotta say, that was quite a surprise. I expected Brown to be able to beat Verdum in the stand-up. I think it kind of shows the strengths and weaknesses of Travis Brown. Brown is always in the fight. I think what I was reading about Brown is that he started MMA around like 28. So relatively older. And what was being said, this was on like Bloody Elbow, is that with Brown is that he relies a lot on his athleticism to get him by, but on a technical and just overall basics, and as far as overall basics go and technique goes, he still needs a lot of work, and I can kind of see that. And he relies on his athleticism because of that. He goes for a lot of one strike, pretty much one strike kills too. You know, he's trying to get the one hitter quitters. With Brown, he broke his rib and hand early. I think he broke his rib because Verdum broke his rib. It's not like some pre-existing injury or something that came back. It was like he was kicked in the rib and then he was subsequently like punched in the rib and it got broken. But yeah, I was really surprised because Verdum's the first guy to take down Travis Brown. Brown managed to get back to his feet when he was taken down. The other thing that surprised me is that Verdum managed to beat Brown into striking. One thing that's really improved upon Verdum is his improved striking in combination. That's what I really liked. Double jab, right cross, jab, cross, kick, and whatnot. Dana White did claim that he thought that Verdum was playing it safe in rounds 4 and 5. I don't know if that's the case. I think they're heavyweights and they just got tired. And I don't know if he really had it in him to take out Travis Brown. Maybe he did. Maybe he gassed himself out even further doing so. With this win, Fabricio Verdum does get a title shot against Cain Velasquez in a fight card in Mexico. I expect Cain to win that one, but I gotta say, Verdum looked elite here. Striking was on point. His ground game's always there. Better wrestling. He usually does trip takedowns. You actually see him go for like singles on Brown. Decent enough conditioning as well. 5 rounds? Definitely the stronger guy. Going 5 rounds. And one thing that was really funny about this fight too was Verdum's constant taunting. He would say something and then punch him in the face. When he needed to get back to his feet at one point. He did a no-handed kip up. Just overall, he was really trolling Travis Brown a lot in this fight. It was really much deserved. I'll say this too. With Verdum, he came in at like 231, 232. And when the fight happened, he looked like the guy that wanted it more, One thing is, I believe he's like 35, 36, I think 36. And also, like, this is his last chance at a title shot. I mean, this is it. If he lost to Brown, maybe he gets a title shot again, but he's already talked about only doing, like, so many fights, in his MMA career. He actually doesn't even fight that much. I think he only has, like, 6 fights in, like, a 4-year period or something like that. He doesn't even fight that much. But yeah, great win for Verdum. Brown, I think he'll get a title shot sooner rather than later, simply because it's heavyweight. There aren't that many contenders out there. He can get the winner of Junior Dos Santos versus Stipe Miocic. Who else can he fight? Maybe even Roy Nelson, who's coming out that big win over Nogueira. If you want to give Brown something of a bounce back fight that he should win. There aren't too many other guys out there that Brown. You can rematch Bigfoot Silva, or you can go with Mark Hunt. Travis Brown would be pretty cool as well. Brown versus Schaub wouldn't be too bad as well. So there's a lot of good fights for Travis Brown and heavyweight still. Next fight after that, Miesha Tate beat Liz Carmouche by unanimous decision. There's actually a good amount of controversy in this fight. I agree with the scorecard. I'm actually just surprised it wasn't split. But I gave Miesha Tate that second round. There was a lot of this idea or this thing where it's control over damage. Liz Carmouche, I believe, won the first round pretty handily. Or definitively, excuse me. Miesha Tate won the third round handily. She almost got the finish, too. Some people even argue 10-8 round for the third. The second round was the one that's controversial. One thing that's interesting about this fight, it's just how listless and disinterested Miesha Tate looked. I don't know. She just wasn't like mentally there. I think she said so in some post-fight interviews and stuff. She didn't seem all that there too, especially after the first round. One thing that was really interesting was that she really allowed Liz Carmouche to get off first into wrestling. And this is something about Miesha Tate that's really bad, I noticed. And it showed in this fight too. Miesha Tate will strike when she needs to grapple. Like in this fight. I don't know why she's striking so much with Carmouche. I mean, she's the better striker, but she's not going to put her away. And I think she kind of showed she's the better grappler, too, especially in the third round. I felt that she should have been grappling instead of striking. Because Carmouche especially wanted to grapple. And if you watch like the Ronda Rousey fight, she grapples when she should be striking, So it's sometimes she doesn't always have the best game plan here, because when Miesha Tate was grappling with Ronda Rousey, she's just getting taken down pretty bad. And in the striking exchanges, she was doing all right and doing better than she was doing in the grappling exchanges. I mean, the thing is, Tate was getting some strikes in on Carmouche, but like the thing is, it was allowing Carmouche to get the takedowns at the same time, because Carmouche was definitely more in the grappling mode, and like I said, I just don't think Tate has the technique or the power really to really put away Carmouche with strikes, and the time she did almost put her away was through grappling. As far as the controversy with the second round, control over damage, one thing is, we're so used to in MMA judging to see a person who gets more control steal a round. However, she kind of just Carmouche just kind of lay and prayed. And here's the other thing too. She didn't really complete the takedown. She would get Tate down to her butt, and Tate would be in this like sitting position against the cage, throw some and would actually throw some more strikes on Carmouche from that position. But she didn't really complete the takedown in the sense of putting her back against the floor a lot of times. Or most of it. I think it was like almost all the time, and keeping her there. I always kind of felt that the position that Carmouche was in with Tate, where Tate was like sitting against the cage, was more of an MMA wrestling transitional phase of the fight, where you didn't. I don't feel she truly completed a takedown on her. She was just in that in between phase where she was about to a lot of times, and it's kind of light on her. More or less, to lay and pray in that particular position. And I feel that Tate was getting more offense in and more meaningful offense in. Even her guillotine attempt, I mean, it was just more than what Liz Carmouche was doing, in my opinion. As far as who the fighter should get next, Tate gets probably should get Sarah Kaufman next. I think Carmouche should get the loser of Jessamyn Duke versus Beth Chicoria. Or maybe even Raquel Pennington next. This fight also kind of reinforces something. I don't really want to see Miesha Tate or Liz Carmouche fight Ronda Rousey again. And it kind of illustrates that they hopefully they'll have a 125-pound division, because these two would be a good fit there in that particular division. And maybe they can get a title in that division, because they're not beating Ronda Rousey anytime soon, in my opinion. So, next fight after that, Donald Cerrone beat Edson Barboza by rear naked choke, 3 minutes and 15 seconds in the first round. Typical Cerrone, slow start, man. This guy gets hit. You can see it in the Mama Gallard fight. Even in the Adriana Martins fight. He gets hit clean a lot. Manages to come back. I don't know how long Cerrone will be able to do that, because he takes hard shots from these guys. And they're usually hard-hitting guys. Barboza, Martins, and Gallard are all hard-hitting guys. I don't know how long Cerrone can do it, but for as long as he's doing it, it's fun, and he's getting bonuses for it. What I mean is slow starting, and slow starting really badly too. I mean, this guy's getting hit with some pretty clean punch strikes to the face. Cerrone's got a hell of a chin, and Barboza's chin though, oh man, I couldn't even set it in the predictions. I actually switched my pick. I was actually going to choose Cerrone, but I went with Barboza. And something I said about Barboza too, he's not good at boxing range. And I kept mentioning that a lot of guys tend to beat him in boxing range a lot. Whether it's Danny Castillo, who dropped him and almost finished him, Jamie Varner, who did manage to finish him, and then Cerrone, who dropped him with the jab and subsequently choked him out. So you gotta wonder about Barboza's ability to take a hit, and just his chin. I don't know. It's not the greatest look when you're getting dropped by punches like that. Nonetheless, he's still a fun action fighter, but I mean that's one of those things that's like, everyone's going to test that at the highest level. You know, I mean, everyone, whether it's Thompson, even Benson Henderson, Habib Nurmagomedov. I mean, just everyone's going to test his chin. You know, he seems to be able to get hit in boxing range. But, you know, it's a good one for Cerrone. I don't really see Cerrone getting a title shot, but, man, he'll be a fun action fighter within that top 7 to 10. Barboza, you know, he's still young. His takedown defense is improving. His offense is really good. I don't know if he can reach that top 10. It's just, like I said, with that, if he is indeed chinny or not. Well, if he is indeed chinny, actually, I shouldn't even add that or not. The thing is, though, he tends to beat the mid-level guys. But, you know, there's a certain level of competition that he seems to not be able to get past. Or even struggles against. As far as who should they get next, so I think Cerrone should get the winner of either the winner of like Miller versus Medeiros. Jorge Masvidal is actually my number one pick as far as who Cerrone should fight next, or Bobby Green would be another opponent as well. I believe Medeiros, I think it's just yesterday that he filled in for Bobby Green against Jim Miller for UFC 172. Barboza, probably a loser of Miller versus Medeiros. Or, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad fight. Someone just kind of high up there. Or else, Barboza Dunham would be good. They both just lost to Donald Cerrone. Both got finished by him very recently. I think that's a fight that also makes sense as well. Next fight, I thought Yoel Romero beat Brad Tavares by unanimous decision. Man, the one time I pick against Yoel Romero, and he just dominates, man. You know, this is actually the first time that Yoel Romero's gone to decision. Geez, what can you say about his performance? It was just, I don't know, a 36-year-old huge man like Yoel Romero moves like he does. I mean, he jumps in the air. Yeah, you know, to close distance, and then starts throwing punches when he lands, and gets like football style tackle, you know, takedowns, judo style, you know, clinch takedowns. I mean, the way he's able to ragdoll Brad Tavares, it was pretty incredible. I mean, this guy's just seriously. I mean, he did anything he wanted with him. In the stand-up, standing elbows, or in the wrestling game. And one thing I really liked about this fight, too, you really got to see his wrestling game. Because sometimes, you know, he kind of had that Dan Henderson thing where it's like, he has this really strong pedigree in wrestling, but you don't always see it in MMA because he gets, like, taken down, or else he doesn't complete his takedowns really well. But in this fight, he managed to complete his takedowns really well. You know, and he's just a really dynamic fighter, especially for his age. Insane genetics and athleticism from that guy, man. The other thing is, too, Brett Tavares actually, statistically, has one of the better, stronger takedown defense stats in the middleweight division, if I'm not mistaken, and he just got ragdolled. You know, it just, I still think pretty well of Brad Tavares, but man, I mean, it just, I don't know if he'd ever beat that guy, Romero. It's just like, he looked awesome. With Tavares, you know, maybe he gets a loser of Carmont versus CB Dalloway next. Yoel Romero needs to step up in competition. You know, Tim Kennedy's coming off that big win over Michael Bisping, so maybe Kennedy next. The winner of Boach versus Rockhold. The winner of Munoz versus Musasi would work. Or maybe, you know, because they don't know what they're doing with Vitor Belfort if he gets an immediate title shot. Romero versus Belfort, honestly, wouldn't be the worst thing, man. They're both around the same age, and they're both like that, pretty much one fight away from like a title shot, But Romero's an exciting fighter. So is Vitor Belfort, That I think that'd be a pretty cool fight, but yeah. I gotta say, I've always been impressed with Yoel Romero. I've actually picked him to win in his last 3 fights. And the one time I didn't pick him to win was against Fei Zhao. I actually got that one right. So I'm usually pretty good about picking Romero fights. And this is the one that I was just so way off. I was a bit disappointed in my... I should have picked him. It's just... I thought that Brad Tavares would be able to get him when he's kind of in that like 50% more mellow tempo, but nah, he just got dominated, man. I don't know how else to say it. Next one after that, this was on the FS1 prelims. Habib Nurmagomedov beat Rafael dos Anjos by unanimous decision. Pretty dominant performance from Habib. I think, I really do think that Habib can probably take down just about any lightweight out there, especially if he gets him against a clinch, against a cage. I mean, the guys that'll test that are going to be... Pettis has good takedown defense, but I'm going to be honest, I can see Pettis get taken down by Habib. Josh Thompson has strong takedown defense, so does Melendez and Benson Henderson. Well, actually, Benson Henderson is a bit... He shows good takedown defense when people are going after the legs. But Josh Thompson was getting a lot of takedowns from the clinch and trips from the clinch. And he was able to take down Henderson a good amount of times from those type of takedowns. And that's the type of takedown that Habib likes to utilize, too. So he might be able to take down Benson Henderson. It's just, yeah, I believe Rafael dos Anjos was number 5, number 6 in the lightweight rankings. So, really, as far as who he gets next, it's going to be, if he doesn't want to, I don't think he's going to get the next title shot, so I'm thinking he probably gets Benson Henderson if he beats Hustam Habilov, or Josh Thompson, even though he's coming off that loss. And it's such a close loss. A lot of people thought he won to fight Habib next week. Unless Habib's just going to wait for a title shot that he's not even guaranteed. So he can't really wait anyways. If you want to give him a returning TJ Grant, you can do that. But man, that's a tough out for TJ Grant. But yeah, good performance. It's just one of those things. For one, I wasn't sold on Habib. And it still shows here, he's still so reckless, especially with the stand-up. He still gets hit coming in. He still gets hit at range in stand-up. That's where I think maybe an Anthony Pettis would be able to capitalize on. Or some of these other, or like a Melendez maybe even, can get him there. One thing that Habib really shows, though, he's really quick about closing the distance with his aggression and just overall quickness with closing the distance and getting that clinch. And he's such a bull in that clinch. The guy is just so strong, That's where I'm not sold at. I really do think he can probably just... His wrestling, though, I think he can probably match or is better than pretty much most lightweights out there. If you want to give him Henderson or Thompson to really test that theory, it's not the worst idea. But yeah, his striking still needs work, though. He still has a reckless looping style of striking. It is effective. He does manage to land, but it really is his wrestling overall that his sambo pretty much that is his strong suit, and it's just so strong. Some people are saying is Habib something of a flashy grinder, though. I found that to be a bit interesting. Because he does have some really fancy takedowns. When he gets top control, I do feel that he is unleashing some good ground and pound. And he is trying to stay active and try to finish the fight. But, so, yeah, I don't think he's like that type of like boring grinder or anything like that. But yeah, as far as he should fight next, just give him the top 5 guys. Give him Benson Henderson. Give him Josh Thompson. Those are pretty much like the only 2 options. I don't want him to fight like a Cerrone or something like that. I don't think it's a good style matchup. And also, I'd like to see him fight guys that would really test his wrestling and see if you know they can defend his takedowns and whatnot. Dos Anjos, pretty big setback for him actually. This was definitely the fight to get him into contention. Maybe gets like Pat Healy next. The loser of Miller versus Medeiros. Medeiros versus Miller next. Who else? Just someone like that. Someone kind of high up there. You know, he acquitted himself as best as he could. You know, he got back to his feet. You know, Dos Anjos, he got back to his feet when he got taken down a good amount of times. He couldn't really unlock the clinch. I mean, Nurmagomedov just has such a strong clinch. And his striking didn't look too bad. It's just, he couldn't get the guy off him, pretty much. So, you know, Dos Anjos acquitted himself as best as he could, but it was a pretty dominant performance from Nurmagomedov. Next fight, that Thiago Alves beat Seth Baczynski by unanimous decision. Great win, great fight too, man. Best performance from Seth Baczynski. You can see that his time in Alliance helped, especially in his overall movement. He doesn't have great footwork per se, but he does move a lot more, and it's something you're seeing with a lot of Alliance fighters these days, whether it's Miles Jury. Started with like Dominic Cruz, and now like everyone utilizes like heavy movement, like lateral movements, in their fighting now. You know, you see it with Gustafsson, kind of with Davis. He's kind of showing out against Machida. You saw it with Miles Jury. You know, just a lot more movement. You saw it with Seth Baczynski here. You know, I couldn't really tell that with Thiago Alves. I couldn't really tell that this guy was coming off a 2-year layoff. His last time he fought was his loss against Catman. You know, guy, he's really accurate with his striking. His timing's really good. His leg kicks are, both inside leg kicks and outside leg kicks are awesome. His overall defense looked pretty good. You know, he gets he generally gets hit clean with strikes that are like straight on. GSP managed to get him there. I think Martin Kampman kind of wobbled him with a front kick to the face. You know, but overall, he has pretty good defense, and his timing's really good. You know, I'd say with Alves, you know who he is, you know what he brings. You can see that he's still a really good fighter. I think he should get more closer to top 10 type guys, and maybe, because he's the type of guy, for a while now, that's been able to main event, like, the smaller fight nights, or, like, be a good co-main. I think he gets a win of Eric Silva versus Matt Brown next. I think that'd be really cool. Actually, yeah, more so than any other fight. That's actually probably the fight I'd like to see. I mean, I forgot who Ellenberger's fighting next. It's not Rory. It's is it Maya or Stungan? I forgot who else. You know, you give him like an Ellenberger or a Stungan. Maybe Safadine. Safadine Alves would actually be pretty cool. But, or maybe the winner of like Woodley versus Rory McDonald. I don't know if he'll fight his ATT teammates though. Oh yeah, Robbie Lawler's fighting Ellenberger. I forgot. But once again, Robbie Lawler trains at ATT. So does Woodley. So does Hector Lombard. So I don't know if they'd even. I don't know if these guys would fight each other now because they're on ATT. Thankfully, there's enough welterweights out there that it's not a problem yet. And anyways, I would like to see Alves versus the winner of Eric Silva versus Matt Brown. I think just stylistically that would be one of the more fun fights out there that he can get next. Next fight, that Jorge Masvidal beat Pat Healy by unanimous decision. The fight I want to see Masvidal get next is Don Cerrone. I think that's a fitting matchup. It makes a lot of sense, and stylistically it should be a fun fight. I like what I see from Masvidal and Healy, man. I mean, this guy is, I was pretty high on him after the Jim Miller win, but after that, the brakes are, put the brakes on him, It's not that he was a prospect, but I thought he'd be able to utilize his grinding game against the higher level competition in the UFC after the Miller win. But his fights against Bobby Green and Jorge Masvidal really show that he probably can't, to be honest with you. And if he can't grind against the cage and especially complete the takedown, he doesn't really have much else. As Bobby Green and Jorge Masvidal both shown. On the feet, Masvidal was just kind of toying with him. Credit to Healy for having that really good chin, but he's a really slow. He's kind of slow, as far as his striking goes and whatnot. He's just not a quick guy. But yeah, Masvidal's takedown defense is always on point. You saw that against like Ustam Khabilov. Even when he fought Melendez. Melendez didn't go for too many takedowns, but the few that he did, Masvidal managed to defend those. And even when he gets taken down, man, he just gets back to his feet like almost right away. So yeah, and he has a good chin. Just good stuff from Masvidal. I like what I see from him. Like I said, I hope he gets Cerrone next. With Pat Healy, he's on a 2-fight losing streak now, I believe. If they keep him, maybe an Evan Dunham. Guess you can go with Barboza Healy. I wouldn't like that fight stylistically. Or maybe just some like mid or lower tier guy against, or just some mid tier guy against Healy next. Next fight after that, Alex White beat Esteban Payan by TKO, 1 minute and 28 seconds in the first round. There's only prelim that I missed the pick for. Alex White's an interesting prospect. He's still young, has some good offensive stand-up. Defensively, though, and I saw it in this fight too, and I think it's going to hurt him later on, especially in the featherweight division. It's like I got hit clean, especially by like the left hooks, a good amount of times by Esteban Payan. Defensively, Alex White still needs a lot of work. Offensively, he's really good. He has a really good chin as well. But yeah, just more lower to mid-tier guys for Alex White, really. There's not much I can say. I like his offense. I don't like his defense. That's really all I can take away from the fight. And he should just get more lower to mid-tier guys next. Esteban Payan, 3-fight losing streak. Lost to Jamie Stevens, Robbie Peralta, and Alex White. Should probably get cut after this. I like the guy. He's a gamer. But, 3-fight losing streak. always on the prelims. He doesn't really have much of a role in the UFC at this point. Next fight, that Kyle Magalesh beat Luke Zachrich by TKO in 44 seconds in the first round. The controversy here is the low blow, the potential low blow. Zachrich claimed to got kneed in one of Magalesh's flurries, and the comp. I don't know if that's true or not. One thing that's pretty interesting here was that when they were doing the replays, they replayed that knee like once, but later on when they were showing the highlights, they pretty much ignored that part of the finishing sequence. So it was kind of curious, like that. It's like they kind of like brushed that under the rug. Kind of Magalesh, 3-fight win streak now. He beat Nick Ring, he beat Carlos Vamala, and now finished Zachrich by strikes. Because Magalesh's striking honestly wasn't that great, and he doesn't have a lot of fights. So it makes me kind of wonder about Magalesh. Is this guy something of a dark horse prospect? Trains out of Nobu Uniao. So he trains out of good camp. He's still, I believe he's like 25, 26, 27 maybe. Still young. Still obviously improving. He's on a good win streak now. Makes me wonder. Maybe he's actually someone to maybe keep an eye out for. Didn't really think much about the guy as a prospect, to be perfectly honest with you. But, good performance, Nice way to win and show your improved striking here. But yeah, I guess Magalesh kind of needs to step up in competition. Geez, I don't know, give him like Kong Watson or something like that. Someone firmly in that mid-level, maybe an Ed Herman. I'm thinking of guys who are coming off losses. I can't really think of guys coming off wins that Magalesh should be fighting at this point, though, in the mid. I can't really think of a great, perfect opponent. But I think just more like solid mid-level guys for Magalesh next. With Zachrich, just more lower tier middleweights for his next time out. Next fight after that, Jordan Mein beat Hernani Perpetuo by split decision. Don't agree with that split decision whatsoever. I thought Mein got rounds 1 and 2 pretty definitively and lost round 3. Interesting stat with Jordan Mein though, and it's a bit concerning in a sense. When he fought Dan Miller, these are somewhat deep too. He almost got armbarred. I believe he almost got like triangled or something against Matt Brown. Against Perpetuo, he almost got leg locked. So, the thing with Mein is that he still puts himself in bad positions to get submitted. What's good is he does manage to find ways to get out of them. I do like what I see from Mein, though. His movement's really good. Perpetuo just couldn't touch him in the first 2 rounds, really. Main's just in, he's out. He's just outside of range for Perpetuo to really get strikes. And he showed an improved wrestling game. I don't remember Jordan Mein ever showing takedowns in the UFC or even in Strikeforce, to be perfectly honest with you. And he managed to take down Perpetuo like 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan Mein should probably get higher up competition now. I'm thinking like a Mike Pyle, maybe even a Tarek Safadine, maybe even Stun Gun, who's coming off that win over Hathaway next. I think it's time to give him kind of higher up there. With Perpetuo, just more lower to mid-tier guys of the division. Next fight after that, this was on the Fight Pass prelims. Dustin Ortiz beat Ray Borg by split decision. Really close fight. I actually liked what I saw from Ray Borg. He's quick, managed to take the back really well. His overall grappling was just on point. I thought Dustin Ortiz should have got the win though. Just bare. I think he got rounds. I gave him like rounds 1 and 3. Ortiz is kind of a grinder, you know. I don't know if he'll be able to utilize that game against a lot of guys at flyweight, because there's a lot of good grapplers at flyweight. That's the thing. Especially at the highest level. I mean, guys like Dodson, Benavidez, of course, Demetrius Johnson, Makovsky, you know, they're all really good grapplers. I don't know if he can implement his game. He was doing pretty good in the stand-up, though. He still keeps his hands really low, but overall, I thought he was getting the better of the stand-up against Borg. But I liked what I saw from Borg. He should just get more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. Ortiz, you know, I thought he should have got the win over John Moraga, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he should be fighting some guys pretty high up there. I'd honestly give him like a Makovsky or maybe like a Brad Pickett next. Next one after that, Mirsad Bektic beat Chas Skelly by majority decision. Yeah, this was actually a fight that kind of demonstrated refereeing competence. It also kind of illustrated the stupidity of one of the rules that I hate. Joe Rogan obviously hates it too. You put your hand down, you can't get kneed in the face. It's the dumbest rule. There were 2 illegal blows. The second one was more definitively illegal. The first one was kind of questionable. But Bektic after the fight said he's seen double. You know, that right there is already a red flag that he's probably concussed. So what the ref did was he gave Bektic time to recover from the illegal blows. In the unified rules, I don't know if that's actually a rule. That you give a fighter time to recover from the illegal blow. The next thing that the ref didn't do is he didn't bring out the ringside physician to check on Bektic to look for like any concussion symptoms. So by the rules, whether you agree with it or not, from the rules standpoint, it probably should have been a DQ. Just from the standpoint of the rules. As far as I really hate that rule too. As far as the fighters go, though, you know, both of them look pretty good. Mirsad Bektic's got a lot of hype. I like his wrestling, and I really like his ground and pound as well. It's really strong ground and pound. Still needs some work in the stand-up, but it's actually pretty solid. Chas Skelly, his stand-up is effective, but I do find some things about his stand-up to be a bit awkward. I like the scrambling ability, though. He's really good there. But as far as the stand-up goes, I found his movement to be a bit awkward. He kind of lunges when he throws the right hand. Still stuff that he can improve upon. But he's still a pretty good prospect, training out a Team Takedown. With Bektic, though, he looked pretty good. I liked what I saw. I see the flashes of what brought the hype. I've seen his fights. You know, I wonder if he can utilize his takedown and ground and pound ability in the UFC level. But he did look pretty good here. You know, just more lower to mid-tier guys for these guys. And finally, Derek Lewis beat Jack May by TKO in the first round. There's some surprising technical ground acumen here from Jack May, actually. He did like did a sweep from half guard from the bottom. Very interesting to see that in the lower levels of heavyweight MMA, you know. Stand-up looked pretty good. It's unfortunate that May injured his knee. I like Derek Lewis's overall ground and pound. He definitely hits hard. He's definitely a gamer. I remember him when he fought Jared Rosholt. Was getting taken down a couple times. Still was in the fight. Managed to knock out Rosholt, you know. This fight, you know, Derek Lewis definitely has heart for days, you know. And he definitely hits hard. You know, just more lower to mid-tier heavyweights for these guys as far as the next fight out. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for UFC on Fox 11. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA PU. Thank you guys very much.